Hey guys, Michael Edward here, True Trading Group. Just a quick recap on the day. We had a couple of very nice trades that ended up setting up for us pretty nicely in the afternoon. This was the first day back after a long holiday Labor Day weekend. So we spoke about in the morning about not pressing, not chasing trades that weren't there, waiting and being patient. And there really wasn't much happening in the morning, but there was a couple of really nice setups in the afternoon that we spoke about in chat, called out a couple of really nice trades. So I'm going to go over 4 trades in particular that we talked about and that we traded today that ended up to be pretty successful. So I'll jump right to it. First one I want to go over is IDXG. You take a look at this chart. They actually gapped up in the morning and just kind of shot right out of the gate, something we were watching from the very beginning of the day. And I want to first show you this daily chart. Each one of these candles representing a single day. You can see the stock breaking out of a really nice solid bull flag pattern, and I'll draw it out for you right here with a couple of trend lines. Here's your flagpole, big move higher on some nice heavy volume, lower volume as the stock consolidates. That's key. You want to see lower volume during the formation of the flag compared to the volume that you got on the pole, and then the breakout of the flag and another increase in volume on that breakout. So right away, you knew that this stock was going to be in play, was going to be on our radar, got picked up on our scanners because of this pattern out of this daily setup with a bull flag. Gorgeous bull flag setup and a gorgeous breakout. So I will go break this down lower to let's go to a 3-minute chart. We actually ended up calling out this trade right around this area at $1.53 in the morning, right around 10 o'clock. When the stock actually ended up, making a higher high from this previous morning candle, and then we all started talking about it, seeing if it can hold this $1.50 range right here. All right. Now, as you can see, a little bit of intraday support right in here. As you see on these 3 candles, just couldn't get back below $1.50 after poking its head above to make a new high compared to this previous high. And then, after we ended up getting long here, we saw this pullback retest to hold 150. We did not get stopped out because it ended up holding that previous area of support and then bounced off it and continued higher. That was kind of a key confirmation to us that the stock was strong and it was going to continue higher, that it was indeed able to hold that move, hold that early morning break of the high. Then again, when you go back to the daily chart, you see a very strong bullish pattern on the daily, so gives you another extra little bit of piece of confirmation that this stock is going to continue higher today. And it certainly did. So from our 153 entry, the retest here of 150, the stock ended up climbing its way up to making a high of 173, and we ended up kind of being done with the stock after it just really couldn't make its hold this new high after it saw such a big increase in volume right here. Let me draw this out for you. There you go. So you see this big volume spike where it just it poked its head through on massive volume and then just kind of pulled right back. Wasn't able to hold above 170. If we saw the stock hold above 170, we would have looked for an extension move higher into the close, but it just never really could. It kind of just lost steam. And we started talking about it in chat around 3 o'clock, saying that, we just don't like this stock as much for a potential afternoon run into the close. So we just kind of started taking our profits at $1.70, which gave us about an 11% profit on this trade. So it was a nice little winner for us on the day. I'll delete these lines out of here, and now I'll take you right to our next trade that I want to go over, which was an absolute monster today, XOMA. Go to the daily. You go to the daily, again, another huge, very, very bullish day for this stock. So you see this big gap up, and the stock consolidated for about a week, 6 trading days of consolidation. Then the stock this morning gaps up right at those previous highs of the consolidation. So I'll go out to a 15-minute candle so you can see it easier. you see this area of consolidation right here for a solid week with, you know, highs below 12 bucks. Then you see today on big volume, it gaps up right into those previous highs. So here's your previous highs. Okay, and you see how it gaps right up into it and then just right away pushes right through to make new highs on strong volume. That tells you the stock is strong and you look for a continuation. Now, let me go back to a 3-minute candle. We missed that. Okay, I was not watching this stock off the open. I was being pretty patient with things, and I missed this morning run here, which ended up being a really nice trade from 11.50 all the way to 13 bucks. But we didn't catch that. We didn't start looking at XOMA probably until the middle of the day. And what really caught my attention that the stock was going to continue to trend higher was a successful retest after a break of the previous morning high. I'll draw it out for you. Okay. Now, when you see this pattern, it's kind of an ascending triangle pattern here. Okay, you see higher lows on the consolidation right up against this $13.08 previous high. Okay, so here's your area of resistance where you see the stock just couldn't get above it, but yet is holding higher every time it pulls off of it. When you finally got the break right here at 11:30 of a new high, and when you see the stock retest that previous high and hold as support and continue higher, that was the key. That's when you knew that this stock was going to continue higher, and this is just an all-out momentum run. Not to mention, look at the volume spike on that retest. So after breaking the morning high on a real bullish pattern, both on intraday chart and on the daily chart, again, I go back to the daily, okay, very bullish pattern here. You can even draw a little bit of a wedge pattern on this consolidation. Okay, you see that? And then it gaps above out of that consolidation and then makes that new high. So you've got bullish patterns here, both on the daily chart and on the intraday chart. Okay, that retest right there where it broke above, retested, shot higher on heavy volume, that was your signal to start to get long. We actually didn't end up getting long this until it was already above 14 bucks. We started getting long around 130, which is right around here. All right, this area, and with a target of 16. At 1:58, I believe in chat was the exact time that I posted it, that I said that we were looking for just this momentum to just take this stock into the close. I expected the stock to close pretty much near the high of the day, and I was looking for a target of 16. Sure enough, we got that. We ended up hitting 16.40 on the high of the day, closing at 16.12, locking in a nice profit of anywhere from 12 to 13% on the trade. So another really good day. Another really good trade on this day. And again, it was something that we talked about that's set up in the afternoon. Okay, there wasn't much in the morning that we were looking at other than that IDXG. There was another one that I'm about to get into, but XOMA is one of the stocks that we talked about in chat as setting up really, really nice for the afternoon. And if you were just patient coming back from a holiday weekend, there were a lot of setups in the afternoon that presented themselves and we were able to capitalize on because we were patient traders and we were looking for opportunities, and they came. So here's a really good trade that we were able to lock about 12% gains on. I'll delete all these lines out and I'll take you to next trade, SDRL. All right, SDRL was a stock that we again really didn't talk about right in the morning until the stock went red to green. And you see here, this is today's action. This is Friday's action before the holiday break. And I want to point something out to you right here. Okay, Friday's low ended up being some pretty nice support for the stock this morning. So yes, the stock gapped below where it closed on Friday, but if you see all this action I'll zoom in. You see all this action in here? The stock was never able to get below this 27-cent area, which happened to be the low of the previous day. So that shows you that there's some nice support going on here. Once you see the stock then do an about face and go and push to go green and go positive on the day, that's where we started. You know, I did not trade this personally, but some of the other traders in chat were calling it out at 30 cents and to watch for a break through 30 cents after the stock had just gone green. And it was a great call. Stock broke through 30 cents after it just went green, and the momentum took it straight to 35 cents. What we did talk about around 1 o'clock or 1:30 or so was to watch out for that 36-cent area, because it happened to be the previous trading day's high. So if you see the resistance that was in place here at 36 cents on Friday, we said watch for that to be an area of resistance. If the stock can't get above that high, we feel like the trade is over. Now, if this ended up getting above 36 cents and holding, then things could have got really, really interesting, and we could have just got a complete squeeze into the close. That could have took this up to 40, even maybe 42 cents. But it didn't happen. And it's important to point that out, because if you got long here on this break above 30 and just never took profit because you didn't identify a resistance area, you would have just held the stock all the way back down to 31 and would have made peanuts. So it was nice that we were able to identify that resistance area, be prudent traders, and book profits, because when the stock was up at 35, 36 cents, you're talking about a 17, 16, 15% gain from when we called out the long at 30 cents when the stock went green. Another really, really nice trade. This did not end up setting up for us in the afternoon. We actually had said around 2 o'clock that if the stock cannot get above the previous day's high, that it's a dead trade, that we didn't think there was going to be any more action going into the close, and it was kind of we call it a no trade, non-event. So don't get caught trading something that's not there, because there would not have been another pattern unless it broke above that high, and it wasn't able to, ended up pulling in. That's why we took profit in front of this resistance area, and if it broke through it and then held, we would have bought back in. You know, there's no problem taking profits, and if the stock keeps going, you can always buy it back. But if a stock pulls in on you, you can't get those gains back if the stock doesn't go back up. So there's nothing wrong with being prudent, taking the profit in front of a resistance area, and if it breaks through that resistance and holds, you can always buy it back. And this is a perfect example of why you want to trade that way. All right, so I'll erase all my markings here, and I'll get to the final trade that I wanted to go over with you was PULM today. Real afternoon runner. Okay, the stock was completely dead up until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobody was talking about it. It was barely trading anything. Then all of a sudden just started going crazy at 1 o'clock. So we started talking about this around 1:30, 1:45, and ended up calling along at $1. It was right before 2 o'clock at $2.12. Okay, here it is right here. Right here is where we started calling this thing long. Now, reason why we ended up doing this was because this stock is extremely thin. It can move on air. Okay, there's not a lot of stock in the float. It will not take a lot of buying pressure to move the price of this stock. So we said, you know, just based on that alone, if volume was consistent, we said at 2 o'clock that we expect this just to run in the afternoon session. So to watch for a new high and continued to see volume rather than have the volume really die out. So after that 212 buy right here, you end up seeing that it did end up making a brand new high on the day. So here was your previous resistance right here. Ended up breaking above it here. Here's your retest and continues higher. And volume just kind of remained steady. And you can see the volume here compared to earlier in the morning. I mean, how it's really just non-existent. And then all of a sudden now you see the volume became, it wasn't huge volume, but it was consistent volume rather than a spike in volume and then a big drop off. And that's what we said to look for. If you saw a continue to see some constant volume, we thought the stock was going to continue higher. And sure enough, it did just that with a large volume spike going into the close, taking us all the way up to $2.50. I believe now after market, the stock is actually trading higher at $2.65. So we really called this one perfectly. Ended up giving us about an 18% gain from our entry at 212 to the high of the day at 250. Stock closed 247, and now we're trading at 265. So another really good setup in the afternoon that we were all over. And again, it's just about being patient, not over trading when something's not there, and losing money when nothing's really happening. So, today's lesson is really about patience and wait for opportunities, wait for setups. They will always come. You don't have to feel that you're missing out on the action or that you're missing out on a trade if, you're just not seeing things in the morning. Don't kill yourself looking for something, because then you're going to force yourself to see something that's not really there. And some people can get caught up in that, and you can end up losing a lot of money like that. So just be patient, wait for trade setups, because today there was a bunch in the afternoon that gave us the opportunity to make some real solid gains. And today was a really good day. So lesson learned, guys. Just be patient. Don't overtrade. And, afternoon setups can sometimes be even better than the morning trade, because you get these afternoon just rallies into the close, and we saw it in PULM, we saw it in XOMA. It's just really great trades all around. So congratulations on everybody that profited, and I'll see you tomorrow.